Hello, it's been a while since I recorded my last video. I think everyone's busy with A-level preparations, or probably after promos. I think the J1s are pretty much working on project work now. Okay, in today's video, I'll share with you an approach to understanding this theme, which is the rebalancing of the Chinese economy. Now, first, what is the context under which we should understand this thing? When you deal with case studies, the higher order questions, usually about 8 or 10 marks, they can be difficult in two senses. First, it can be hard because there are many overlapping concepts in the question. Okay, so they may ask you to explain how price controls, which is a demand and supply concept, affects the ability of firms to make profits, excess profits in the long run, which is a market structure concept, and what is the impact on society as a result of this change, which is market failure. Okay, so there are ways in which they can string many concepts into the same question. That makes it challenging. Okay, but I'm not talking about that today. I'm really talking about what you may regard as foreign concepts. And for foreign concepts, I'm looking more at the macro aspect. Students who have followed my videos or who have attended my lessons should no longer find quantitative easing, austerity, okay, productivity, or international competitiveness. Okay, you should no longer find these foreign, because I've talked about them as well as given you a structure as to how to understand this. But recently, okay, you will probably know that in the A levels, there was 1 year, about 2 years back, when they asked about something related to China's new growth model. So this is the rebalancing of the Chinese economy. And to understand this whole concept and to prepare yourself with adequate content before you go for the exams, I'll suggest 3 things, okay? First, you must understand why. Why are they trying to rebalance the Chinese economy? Okay? After why, you need to understand how. How is this being done? Okay? And finally, what is the impact on China? Okay, so with the why, how, and impact framework, I think this is as good as well as you can prepare yourself before the paper. So when I talk about Chinese economy rebalancing itself, what's really happening here is that they are switching focus, okay, from reliance on external demand. External demand, of course, means X, and to a certain extent FDI, okay, towards internal demand or internal drivers of growth. I'm looking at C and I. Okay, so China is trying to rely less on the rest of the world and rely more on its own people. So why are they doing this? You can think of this as a story, okay? After China joined the World Trade Organization in 2001, they were growing well, right? In fact, they grew quite steadily throughout, almost hitting more than 10% growth per year. But when the US financial crisis struck, okay, China's growth was not derailed, but it was slightly disrupted. So they were evidently not very pleased, but never mind, they continued to grow after that. And then you have the onset of the Eurozone debt crisis, and that also shook the Chinese train, right, that was carrying the economy forward. So I think at this point is when the leaders came to a realization that, hey, look, we have 1 billion people, right? What is it that we can't do? Why do we have to rely so much on external demand? Because when you're relying on external demand, you must remember from my globalisation video that greater reliance always translates into greater vulnerability, okay, to global events. So China was of the realization that reliance on external growth is not sustainable, it's unsustainable, uncoordinated, unpredictable. So it's better to rely on domestic demand, which you can control easily with fiscal or monetary policy. So with this realization, they want to boost domestic demand, okay? But as to the how, you must always remember to boost actual growth. It's a question of boosting AD as much as it is a matter of increasing the size of K. So yes, China is trying to get its people from rural areas to move into the urban areas, get them good jobs, cut taxes, okay, get them to spend more and to invest more, all right, and you cut down on corruption, which also boosts confidence in the investment prospects in the country. So this is what they are trying to do to boost AD. But I think it's more important for students to know that China is trying to boost the size of the multiplier as well. How? You know that K is 1 over the marginal propensity to withdraw, which is given by MPS, MPM, and MPT. Okay, so what they're doing here is really to decrease the size of MPS, MPM, and MPT, so as to increase the size of the multiplier. So how are they doing this? China is coming up with better social security. So this could be state subsidized or finance healthcare schemes, unemployment benefits. And what do? They provide the people with a sense that, oh, there's a safety net. So I do not have to save so much in anticipation of that rainy day. All right, so it reduces savings. How then do you reduce imports? Now just look at the cars out there in the market. You have European cars, you have Japanese cars, but now you have Chinese cars as well, right? Cherry QQ is a Chinese brand. And same thing for smartphones. You have your Samsung, Apple, but there's also Xiaomi. So they are coming up with import substitutes to the extent that whatever you want, you can get it from within the mainland as well. So this also reduces the propensity to import. And finally, they are cutting tax rates, as I mentioned earlier. So all these help to increase the size of K, to position the economy to be better driven by domestic drivers of growth. But what is the impact, you might say? I'll say in the short run, there will definitely be transition issues. Okay, so if you switch reliance towards internal drivers, if internal drivers have not matured enough, growth will slow down, that's for sure. But they have come up with expansionary fiscal policies, expansionary monetary policies, right? They just cut their interest rates by about 0.25% yesterday. Okay, so all these can help to support growth in the short run. Okay, so this is the why, how, and impact. And if you extrapolate this understanding further, someone might ask you, can the same thing be done in Asia, right? Can you try to rebalance growth in Singapore or Indonesia? Now, for sure, you can't do that in Singapore. Why? Singapore has a small domestic market. C and I are quite small. Can you then do that in Indonesia or India, where the population size is bigger? Now it depends as well, because consumption is affected by income, the cost of credit or availability of credit, and expectations. In bigger countries like Indonesia and India, yes, the market may be big, but income is not high. Alright, purchasing power is not very high in the economy. So we don't expect C to be a big driver of growth as well. Okay, so yeah, this is, as mentioned, a framework through which you can try to understand this rebalancing theme. Okay, so all the best for your exams. If you finish your exams, play hard. Okay, if you are interested in attending crash courses, you can also contact me. So this is more for the J1s going on to J2. Okay, you can see the dates there. You get $50 off too if you bring a friend. Okay, all right, thank you.